You know that feeling, right? You're deep into a Tamiya build and suddenly snap a strip screw head. Just infuriating. So today, we're doing a deep dive into something that sounds simple, but maybe isn't. Are your Phillips screwdrivers actually obsolete, especially for these models?
Yeah, it goes way beyond just JIS versus Phillips. We're going to look at the history, the actual physics behind the designs, the international standards now, and what that all means practically. The goal is helping you figure out the best tools for your bench so you can actually enjoy the build without that frustration.
Okay, let's start with basics. That plus shape, the crosshead, it's not all the same design, is it? Tell us about Phillips.
Right, so the Phillips standard came out of 1930s America. It was really engineered for speed on assembly lines. Key things are those tapered flanks, a pretty pointed tip, and a sort of rounded bottom in the cross. It helps the driver find the slot, quickly self-centering.
Okay, speed. And then there's JIS, the Japanese industrial standard. What's the philosophy there?
Well, JIS came later, post-war, and it was geared more towards precision, often with softer metals. The absolute main goal was getting maximum torque, transferring that turning force without the driver popping out, minimizing cam out. So its features are different. Parallel flanks, not tapered.
Yeah.
A blunter, flatter tip, and the recess itself is shallower.
How can you spot a JIS screw? Is there a trick?
There is. Often, not always, but often you'll see a little dot, like a dimple, stamped into the head. That's the classic sign. Or just consider the source. It is Japanese Tamiya, obviously, but also Canon cameras, hod parts, Shimano bike components. Chances very high it's a JIS profile screw.
Okay, you mentioned cam out. Let's define that. Is cam out the same as stripping the screw?
Good question. They're related, but not identical. Cam out is the action. It's when the turning force actually pushes the driver up and out of the screw recess. Stripping is the result. That's the physical damage, the mangled head, that happens because of cam out, usually repeated cam out.
Got it. And there's this persistent idea, isn't there, that Phillips screws were meant to cam out, like a built-in torque limiter.
Ah, yes, the famous myth. It's everywhere. But if you go back to Henry F. Phillips's original patent from 1933, his stated objective was, and I quote, no tendency of the driver to cam out.
So the opposite of the myth?
Exactly. It was actually a design flaw relative to his goal. But on those early, less precise assembly lines, it turned out to be a sort of happy accident.
It did prevent over-tightening or breaking the screw head sometimes, and, well, later it got kind of marketed as an intentional feature. But for you, the hobbyist today, working carefully, cam out is just bad news.
Right. And things make it worse, like using the wrong size driver.
Absolutely. Wrong size, a killer. Also, not pushing down hard enough, driving it at an angle, or just using a worn-out screwdriver tip. All bad.
Okay, so let's talk tools. You hear people say get a JIS screwdriver, but you're saying
Yeah.
It's more complicated now.
It really is. And here's the kicker. The formal JIS standard for screwdrivers. It's basically defunct. It got superseded years ago by modern international standards like ISO 8763-1 or the German DIN standard. Whoa, okay, so what does that mean? Are modern Phillips drivers different?
Yes. That's the crucial point. The good quality modern Phillips drivers you buy today, the ones made to these ISO standards, have actually adopted the superior geometry of the old JIS profile. Think brands like Vessel. They even market something called JI Drive, Hosan, Weha, PB Swiss. When you buy a good Phillips from them, you're essentially getting that non-cam-out parallel flank blunter tip design.
So the real villain isn't Phillips as a concept, but
the old, outdated, often cheap Phillips drivers, the ones with those really sharp needle-like points and aggressive tapers, those are what chew up screw heads, especially JIS heads.
Okay, let's connect this directly to Tamiya then. Builders generally agree Tamiya uses JIS profile screws, right?
Yes, the consensus is overwhelming. So using one of those old, sharp, tapered Phillips drivers on a Tamiya screw, that is the absolute worst-case scenario. That's how you strip screws fast.
Right, but what about the other way around? Using a modern, good-quality ISO spec driver on an actual Phillips head screw?
That actually works surprisingly well. Often better than using an old Phillips driver on an old Phillips screw, because that better geometry still reduces the tendency to cam out.
Interesting. And we should also mention, Tamiya themselves are moving on in some cases, aren't they? With hop-up parts.
Good point. Yeah, you see more hex and Torx fasteners appearing, especially in optional or high-performance parts. They offer even more secure tightening, so a really comprehensive toolkit needs those too.
So does all this mean we should just, chuck all our old Phillips screwdrivers in the bin?
Not necessarily. Remember that cam out is a feature idea. Even though it started as a flaw, it can still be useful sometimes.
Okay, like when?
Well, think about fastening a screw into something really delicate, like soft plastic. If you use a super high grip driver, You might not feel when the screw is tight enough, and you could strip the threads inside the plastic itself. That's often worse than damaging the screw head.
Ah, okay. So the Phillips coming out gives you a kind of tactile feedback, a warning sign before you strip the plastic threads.
Exactly. Tells you, okay, that's tight enough, back off. Same thing if you're working with really soft metal fasteners like aluminum or brass.
Hmm.
A high grip driver might just twist the head clean off. The cam out acts like a little safety valve.
Plus, let's be honest, Phillips screws are still everywhere else, right? Around the house, in the garage.
Absolutely. They're ubiquitous, so you'll still need them.
Okay, let's try to synthesize this. The whole JIS versus Phillips thing is maybe the wrong way to frame it now. It's more like modern ISO compliant drivers versus outdated ones.
That's pretty much it. Tamiya uses JIS profile screws, so you need drivers that fit them well, which modern high-quality drivers do.
Yeah.
But those older Phillips drivers, they still have a specific niche use.
So what's the practical takeaway? How should people actually equip their workbench?
Okay, we think a three-tier strategy makes sense.
Tier 1.
Invest. This is your main set. Get a complete range of high-quality, modern ISO-compliant crosshead drivers. Look for those slightly blunted hips, the parallel flanks. These are your workhorses for like 95% of your hobby tasks, especially critical for Tamiya screws.
Okay, Tier 1. Invest in modern ISO. Tier 2.
Retain. Don't throw out all your old Phillips. Keep a few good ones, maybe a couple of common sizes. Think of them now as your specialized torque-limiting drivers. Use these specifically when you're worried about stripping threads in soft plastic or shearing off soft metal heads.
Right, repurpose them. And Tier 3.
Discard. This is an easy one. Any really cheap, badly made, visibly worn, or super sharp, needle-pointed old Phillips drivers, just get rid of them. They're a liability. They'll just damage your screws.
Makes sense? Invest, retain, discard. And looking ahead.
Definitely future-proof a bit. As we said, hex and Torx are becoming more common in the hobby. Investing in good quality hex and Torx drivers is a smart move.
So wrapping up, maybe the final thought for you listening is this. What other simple tools in your box have these hidden complexities? And how could understanding them maybe really change how you approach your craft? Definitely worth taking a closer look at that screwdriver drawer.